This podcast contains an English accent that most of our Irish listeners will find offensive. Also, there may be some colourful language that you're going to find less offensive. Now, over to Ryan and Leon. Enjoy the podcast.
Daring to dream. That's what it's always been about with Irish football. That a team in green could make the impossible seem real and within the grasp of those who believe. We have had unholy days of elation over wins that might not impress other nations, because when something comes too often, it's then expected or forgotten. But when you have fewer days of glory, they go down in history and it's a whole different story. We stand and we scream while our eyes start to stream and the lump in your throat grows with pride and with hope. When heroes are made, who could never be beat, giving children the names that they'll shout when they're kicking a ball in the street. Daring to dream. That's what it's always been. In a team in green that give us reason to believe.
Even as a non-football fan, come on, mate. Come on.
How many children are going to be called Parrot now in the next year?
Plenty.
Telling you.
Definitely plenty. You'd hope so, plenty.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, Parrot, come in for your dinner. The Parrot fella.
What a moment in Irish modern sporting history.
I will tell you one
Fuck
thing.
me.
I'll tell you one thing. I haven't watched Irish football in about 4 years, I'd say. I watch the rugby all the time, but football, I'd say the last time in 4 years was this weekend. I was on a trip to Portugal there was 18 lads on a trip to Portugal, trunning weights and drinking pints, and I was in a pub in Portugal there and we watched that and I was like, lads, what are you even going for? I don't like Ireland never wins. I was proven wrong.
This one time, you were proven wrong.
The one time I watched it, I ate my words and I said, you know what? Maybe we're all right, football. I was like, they're taking Jack Charlton out of the freezer as we speak.
Oh, God. Yeah, well, I am into Irish football. I was at the Aviva Stadium in 2015 when the last time Ireland scored a big goal, Robbie Keane got a goal against... No, Shane Long got a goal against Germany. And then before that, the reason I brought up Robert Keane is the last goal against Germany in the World Cup 2002. So there's not been that many events, big goals in Irish football history. But fuck me, I was in a pub and it was fucking it was loose. Everyone's going absolutely. And then there was a lot of people just didn't know what to say. And I'm like staring at grown men, and they're staring at me and going like, what? And I'm like, what? I don't know.
We're through the looking glass.
I don't know. It was fucking magical.
Yeah.
That was Sean Watmore, by the way. Jesus, forgot to even say.
Sean, who's been trolling me all month because ever since I shaved my beard, Sean's been slagging me because I've no beard. He's like, look at you, you small, you soft-chinned cunt, is what he said to me. So yeah, he does good poetry, but he's also an arsehole as well to me. I told him I'm going to grow a beard so long I'm going to strangle him with it. It's gotten to the point. Then he said,
he's a member of the Beard Brigade as well, isn't he?
He is, and he sent me a band called The Beards. And it's like, if your dad doesn't have a beard, you've got two mas. I'm like, this is relentless. That's what I'm gonna.
This is stuff.
I'm gonna grow a mega beard now, just to spite him.
Are you feeling okay after this long weekend in Portugal with 18 lads?
I am now, and it's Wednesday. I am now, and it's Wednesday. Yeah, it was bad. It was almost
not much poetry being read, I'd say.
Well, I tell you what, I actually, it was a very random weekend. I led a yoga class.
You led a yoga class?
A 20-minute yoga class. Well, about nearly 30 minutes, I think, actually, yeah.
Oh.
Because there was the whole thing, it was like a mental health weekend. We had the DMC club, which I mentioned before, and they do a 1-year annual trip away. And on the Friday, we literally flew in and trained for 2 hours. And then afterwards, we were given like an hour break. And then they're like, right, we're bringing you to... So basically, your woman who owned the hotel that we stayed in happened to have this fucking dojo looking place that her husband had built for her during COVID. And we were like, what? We were making like banana bread and writing poems, and this fella's fucking making a bleeding dojo with himself in the middle of nowhere in Portugal. So we went there, and then it's like a yoga studio. So I've done yoga for years, and me mate Gara was like, "Here, do you want to lead 20 lads in a yoga session?" And I was like, "All right." Imagine a football team who's never done yoga, and me at the front, been like, tell them, and they're like, they're going to go like, and the noise out of them all, you know. And I was like, like the lads, the lads mic'd me up like because they're doing like reels. I have to get a video. It's so funny. Yeah. It's like me going, shut your mouth and get into that position. It's like, get your Ronnies to the ceiling. We're doing like we're doing Cobra, and it's like, we're going into frog pose, and if your arse is open, then you're doing the right position. And the lads were all laughing and all, and then afterwards,
there's a niche for this lad yoga.
Like lad yoga, it was 100%. And they're like, the smell of feet in here. I was like, well, you've trained for 2 hours. I can't fucking do anything about it. So we did like the 20 minutes of yoga, and then afterwards I was like, right, what we'll do is we'll do a mindful guided meditation. So I was like, right, everybody on the floor, and obviously like they were like, what? And I'm like, shut up and get on the floor. So they got on the floor and did like a close your eyes, kind of like a body scan. And then I had this like music playing as well. I was like, look, we might as well play something now because there's no sound system. So I was playing it. I was like, who wants to listen to shy pan flute music? So I had some shy pan flute music playing. Yeah. And I was doing this guided meditation, going from the top of the head all the way down to the feet and back to the top of the head. And then I was like, I'm just going to stop. And I was like, just silence. And the lads are all lying on the floor, not a word out of them. And I left them there for about 2 minutes. And then I was like, right, whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes and you can sit up. And the lads were like, don't fucking want it. They were like, that was lethal. They were like, that was so good. And I was like, yeah, once you shut up, it's actually really enjoyable, you know.
Just soak it in.
And there was loads of good things.
Accept it.
There was loads of good things that weekend. There was like a thing that they did was, so there was like a box in the gym for like a week beforehand, and obviously lads find it very difficult to share their worries and whatever it is about, you know, that's going on in their life. So they had a really good idea where there was a box, like a post box, and you could write a worry on it, unsign it, leave it unsigned, and put it into the box. And what they did was they brought all the envelopes over to Portugal, and after the yoga session, each one of us were given an envelope, and you read out whatever it was. So we're all like, you know, really deep, really fucking deep, like, you know, things that people are going through, and a good insight into, like, lads are proper struggling, like, you know, and they're not going to talk about it because everyone in the room was just being a lad, you know, they're like farting and, you know, talking about fart jokes and stuff, and then they kind of, it was a high energy up until that point. Then the yoga kind of brought them down to like, right now we're all relaxed, and then we read out these, you know, envelopes, and it was just a really fucking powerful moment where the lads were like,
that's, you know, class, man. That's unreal.
It was good, like, and then we went to the pub, obviously, and like a few beers. But we did that, like, we woke up, you're up at 9:30 in the morning, you go for breakfast, you go back to your thing, you get changed, you go, we train for 2 hours, you get a break, we go for lunch, we might do another session, and then you're back to the pub. So it was like a stag do with weights involved. But there was loads of good parts of that weekend where there was like a focus on, you know, we're going to have a chat about this. If you just need to talk to each other, now is the weekend to do it. So there was a really good buzz, you know.
Yeah, but even if it was a stag do, I think on all the stag do's I've ever been on, you don't ever remember the things that people think you would. Like, you don't remember the game that you played, or like the, I don't know, the kind of sports thing, the paintballing that you went to. Like, you remember the kind of the moment in between, maybe you leaving one pub and going to the next, where three of you are just talking and hadn't seen each other for years, and you're rebonding and you're reconnecting and you're sharing, like, Jesus, I'm not seeing you in 4 years, what's been happening? Oh Jesus, things have been up and down. I go, oh, that's mad. Those are the connections that I remember of all the stag do's I've been on. I don't remember everyone at 3 a.m, like, lazily, like, sitting there fighting in the strip club and going like, and everyone wants to go home, and then someone's uncle gets a dad and says, go on Jack, like, everyone's not caring at all, like,
no, they're all checked out.
Everyone's gone, everyone's totally checked out, waiting for the chipper. Do you know what I mean? That's not what you remember. No, you remember the chats, so you remember the chats, the connections.
And there was plenty of chats over the weekend. There was plenty of shy talk as well, but there was a lot of good conversations had, that to the point that, you know, when you're coming back and you have the fear, because everyone has the fear after something like that, you don't really, because you're like, hang on, there was a lot of good things happening that weekend, that I feel like less of a shy bag. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you just open up and be sound to your mates, you feel like less of a shite bag. There's my top tip.
If you wake up every day and plan, and your goal is to be less of a shite bag than you woke up, you got a good day.
You won't get the fear.
Amazing.
You know
I'm glad that you've come back.
I've cured anxiety.
Guilt-free.
I've cured anxiety. I'm just saying that. If I could sell that in that motto in a pill form, there you go.
Yeah.
Just be less of a shite bag.
Yeah.
That's my new
Good
slogan.
mantra. We have the winners of our competition with Quilkeeper. So next week we're going to do a special where we're going to share the 3 poems that have won. But man, like the amount of support, contributions, people that have been writing poems in. We had 200 poems submitted on the form.
Wow.
Probably about the same through like the Quilkeeper competition. Honestly, it's been incredible.
That's amazing.
And what's been nice with the forms is like we've asked people to tell us about their story of poetry, and some people have like a, the basic like I've won this and I won that and all that, grand whatever. But some of the stories have been bloody beautiful.
Yeah.
I got into this. I'm a late bloomer. I've started writing poetry at 62 years old, and people think I'm mad, but still I'm here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Things like that. It's just fucking.
That's amazing.
Just great. And I've talked to you. We've talked about it a few times. Like, we don't know where this podcast is going to go.
Yeah.
We haven't got a fucking clue.
No.
What we do know is it's a thing that has started one or two people's creative journey.
Yeah.
And given them an outlet, and it's fucking great to feel like if that's all this ends up being, I think that's enough for me.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very wholesome enough feeling, and you're just thinking that you're connected. I mean, also as well, like the amount of connections we've made with people that we probably never would have any connection with other than like through. If we didn't have poetry, who would we probably wouldn't be friends because we didn't have poetry, and like. The amount of people that we've met in different countries, and not even just in countries, but like in Ireland, and they open up and they're very. It's great, that people can connect through poetry, and to see that response, like we've done.
Unbelievable.
400 people is ridiculous, like that.
So thank you is what we're saying. Fuck me.
I don't even know 400 people.
And unfortunately, we couldn't give everybody a winning spot. But like we were going through some of the poetry we've been receiving. Amazing, and I wanted to share one with you. Now, this is kind of like a bit. Let's call it an honourable mention. But weirdly enough, we're going to share this one before we share the ones that won. So it's almost like this one did win.
Yeah.
This is from someone called Nicole Zwolinski, I might say. The poem is called Stolen Wishes. My son skips blissfully to a lone dandelion, stripped of its yellow petals, turned pearly, white puffs, and he plucks it from the earth that is coated in St. Augustine grass, the kind that weaves across the land in an unbreakable net. He breathes in as he draws the fluff towards his face and starts to blow. Our eyes meet, and I smile through my screen as I try to freeze this memory forever. No! He screams and storms away to blow the bristles in private. Why? I later asked. Because everyone knows if you take a picture of a wish, it won't come true.
That was Nicole Zwolinski with Stolen Wishes.
It's what we were talking about the last couple of weeks. Actually, maybe we talk about this a bit too fucking often. But like the kind of the phone being something that we use, but like it's not the greatest thing to use, and the mind and eyes of a child seeing that more than the adults do, which is lovely as well. Like, because we talk about this a lot. Like, you do workshops with younger people, and we both did a workshop at a youth festival this year as well. Got massive faith in younger people, having the cop on to do better than we did with their relationship with the phone.
But also as well, like I always tell them, like teenagers especially, you're at the perfect age to be creative because you're old enough to be able to use your imagination, but you still have your imagination. I was like, that's why some adults are so boring, because they've not. Your imagination is a muscle, and if you don't use it, you will lose it. you won't be as creative, you won't be as imaginative. So it's like, if you keep at this age now, keep going with your creativity, you'll only get better. And it's like, because you need to use it, you know. And then you have some people that are just going through the motions and are afraid of using their imagination. Instead, they just distract themselves.
We should probably drill down in that, because I think you're right, and I think I was guilty as well in doing that. But I think, to give a little bit of I don't know, lead with kindness for why that happens. The world of an adult person is a lot of it is about productivity. A lot about it is like numbers and wages and money and saving. So like, you end up seeing the world as a bit of a commodity, like something that you take things from, and you kind of see people as commodities as well, like people that are, you know, like in your position that you need to get, or like you need to be better than everybody else. If you don't, you'll be the dole queue. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like this constant...
The rat race.
The rat race. The rat race is not a poetic thing at all. It's like, it removes the humanity of humans. So like, you have to get to a point where you shake that off and you get back into that kind of childlike curiosity around stories. Because we were talking again before about like stories that save everybody, and stories do save people. And like, if we haven't got stories, we've got nothing.
Yeah, well, our whole life is just a collection of stories, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're only just telling stories. But like, you know, people don't get into finance just because they love... Well, very rare people will get into finance just because they love finance. They do it because they want money. You know, you don't get into... A lot of creative kind of outlets people get into because they enjoy it. They don't think, oh, well, I'm going to... Now, some have, we say, like the likes of comedy. Comedy is now commodified, where the scene in comedy is very much kind of, I'm out to make my start and I want to get to where I am, and like, I will step on people to get higher. Musicians, some musicians are like that as well, because it's so competitive. Poetry, there isn't the same kind of money in it, so we're kind of in a good position that like, people aren't doing it to get further ahead than other people. They're just going, I've joined the community, I really enjoy this. If we all make it, or if one of us, you know, we will all help each other to grow, rather than just, don't fucking, you know, there's not enough poetic outlet for us all. You know what I mean? Don't be writing about dandelions, because I have a poem about dandelions. You've stolen my ideas. You know?
Yeah.
No one's going to say that. Like.
But then also there's that whole thing about people judging others for having hobbies that might seem a bit pointless. Because that does happen. Like, you know, you're a young person starting the world of work, and you join a company, and you know, it's all about like productivity projects. You got to do this, got to do that. Like, make sure you're contributing to the team and all that stuff. And then I remember like being judgy of these people. Like someone like, Stephen likes to, I don't know, like crochet on the weekend. Like, who is he? What's he up to? He obviously got nothing about him. He can't really work. Get him out. Do you know what I mean? And that's from the company. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and that kind of feeds into you, and you end up like being, and then you end up not having any hobbies yourself, because you feel like it's a pastime for the people that can have the luxury to have a pastime. Well, that's not true.
But even if you think about like
at all,
crocheting, knitting, collecting fucking stamps, let's just say, it's a hobby that you have to slow down. You have to just do it and focus on it. Like, say for instance, I have mates that just paint Warhammer. They just fucking got back into it in their 30s and were like, just love doing it, because they've got kids and they have a really busy job. So they're like, I'm going to go and take an hour out of my day when the kids are asleep, and I'm going to paint a little fucking figurine. But they've calmed down. They've probably reset their brain. Their central nervous system is slowing down and they're at rest. They probably get, say for instance, if you're in work and you have a problem that you need to fucking figure out, if you slow down, the problem solution might come towards you. Whereas if you're constantly fucking you're not giving yourself time to think. Follow me, I'm delicious. Straight off the time from fucking Portugal, I'm just dropping bleeding gold. I need to listen back to this.
I'm listening. I sent you a poem to read out there, and I think it's kind of connected, because what I found was an intensity towards my creativity when I knew I hadn't done it for a long time. So what would happen with me is like, I'd work for a couple of years and go like, oh, for fuck's sake, like I haven't read a book in a year, I haven't written anything, I don't know, I used to sing quite a bit, it's like I haven't done any fucking music for a bit, let's just fucking do that for a bit. Boom. And then at the first hurdle you kind of go, fuck that, I'm not, because it's not being it's not something that's actually something you love doing. It's like some way presented to you as a way out of what you're doing. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like you're kind of going, okay, well, I'm doing this, but the hobby is the thing that I've been told that can give me a different life or a better life, but in a productive way. So like you kind of test one thing, like, oh fuck, but as soon as you start to kind of really enjoy the things that don't come with financial remuneration, like the things that like you're told to care about, like, and you just start like making choices, like, oh, I want to do that, I want to do this. You make kind of, you don't worry about making mistakes in creativity. You don't worry about like whether or not you're going to paint something that's shite or write something that's shite. And I think a lot of culture pushes you to go, right, well, if you give it a go once, grand, but you know, you might fuck it up, and that means you can't do it again. This poem that I've written, that I've sent you to read, is kind of about that. It's about like the culture of being comfortable to try and fail.
Lovely. I'm going to read it out now. This is by a poet called Jean Ingelow with A Singing Lesson. A nightingale made a mistake. She sang a few notes out of tune. Her heart was ready to break, and she hid from the moon. She wrung her claws, poor thing, but was far too proud to weep. She tucked her head under her wing and pretended to be asleep. A lark, arm in arm with a thrush, came sauntering up to the place. The nightingale felt herself blush, though feathers hid her face. She knew they had heard her song, she felt them snicker and sneer. She thought that this life was too long, and wished she could skip a year. "O nightingale," cooed a dove, "O nightingale, what's the use? You, a bird of beauty and love, why behave like a goose? Don't skulk away from our sight, like a common contemptible fowl. You bird of joy and delight, why behave like an owl? Only think of all you have done. Only think of all you can do. A false note is really fun from such a bird as you. Lift up your proud little crest, open your musical beak. Other birds have to do their best, but you need only speak." The nightingale shyly took her head from under her wing, and giving the dove a look, straight away began to sing. There was never a bird could pass. The night was divinely calm, and the bird stood on the grass to hear that wonderful psalm. The nightingale did not care. She only sang to the skies. Her song ascended there, and there she fixed her eyes. The people who listened below, she knew but little about, and this tale has a moral, I know, if you'll try to find it out.
That was the poet Jean Ingelow with A Singing Lesson.
That was very good.
The smile on you when you were reading that,
was very
you were
good.
enjoying that.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. That was lovely. Yeah. Because I think when, like, something that you just do naturally, and then someone goes, "Why do you do that?" That can stop people singing for years.
Definitely.
You know, and it might not be singing, it might be dancing, it might be something like that. And there is, like, again, we're working with a lot of young people. There's a lot of kids out there that have been told, "Don't be fucking doing that. What are you doing that for?" And like, they could be on to the next. They could be the next best person. They might not, but they might just love doing it. And so many of them just stop being themselves because they're just like, they shut down.
Shut down.
You know, and I've taught many classes like that where you go in, you think, like, well, they're 15, 16 years of age, should be full of life, should be ready to go. And a lot of classes are where they're just, you know, they don't give a fuck, and they just, you know, they're just themselves. There's so many of them that just heads down, and they're just so closed off to being who they should be.
Yeah, and you have to gain a level of maturity that you don't have when you're younger and trying things, to understand that, like, when people are at you, it's almost like that's their song. Strange way of seeing it, but like I remember reading an article from the writer Dolly Alderton, who she used to be like the UK Times newspaper's columnist, like a dating columnist, like the Agony aunt. not our agony aunt. We haven't heard from her for a while, but
she's on fucking holiday in Portugal.
And then she wrote a book called Everything I Know About Love, and then she wrote a book called Ghost, which was really good. So like, she was saying that when she was writing this column, every time she published it, she would wait for this one fucking guy, and this one guy would leave the biggest comments, words, hundreds and hundreds of words. And it'd be all horrific and negative and like mildly constructive, but like not good. It wasn't like good feedback. It was like that's like, it was shit. Basically, it was critique. And after a couple of like months of this happening, Dolly was kind of like, she was going to complain. She spoke to the newspaper. She's like, I've had enough of this. And then she kind of came to the realization that like that's his column. In a weird, crazy way, what she's doing is allowing him to create in his own weird fucking negative way his way, and then he gets to speak to his friends, family, like, oh, you never guess what I've done today. Oh yeah, no, I've told her what for. And as long as she didn't get affected by it in some weird strange way, she didn't want to deny him of his.
That's a very empathetic, I'd say
very empathetic
that
way
could
of
be a person
it.
who's probably wants to have their own column and is now acting out as if like, I'll take her down because I haven't given that opportunity. Yeah.
And you're dead right. Very empathetic way of seeing it, but a good way of seeing it. If you want to go one way or the other.
Yeah.
If you want to get lost in that world of like being obsessed with people that hate you and that, or just see it. Okay, well, that's his way of showing up. That's his thing, and he gets to talk to his friends about like his next comment piece. Like, who is she denying? So like, it's just an interesting balance of like why people do what they do. And why people say what they say.
It's about perspective. She shifted her perspective, and then that doesn't. She's like, well, this person, that's their way to act out what they want to be in a way of being a critic. But if she could have a completely different perspective and be like, this person's out to get me.
Yeah.
So it is just shifting your perspective could make the difference as well. That.
But there's such a like. You've obviously been watching what's been happening to Aoife Dunne online. So like. That's not what we're talking about. That is vitriol, it's violence, it's like gang mentality. I don't know what is happening with the people that are getting into her DMs and being really aggressive and creating some kind of horrific kind of attack on her from... I don't even know who he is. I never even fucking know about him before Eva started talking about him. But so that's not what that is.
No.
That's like something completely different.
Yeah, that's like... The loudest people are not always the right. Just because you shout the loudest doesn't mean that you have the best opinion. It's just, and social media it can be just a pit of slurry as well. And people that will, if you take time to go into someone's DMs and launch a hit piece against them, you must have not the best life.
No,
realistically, people who are genuinely happy and happy for other people, they might not, or even say, for instance, if they have an opposing opinion, well, that's their entitled to their opinion. Like your columnist there, he has entitled to his opinion. It might be the wrong opinion, but like they're still doing it. But to actively go out and engage with someone and try hurt someone's feelings, like we both know Aoife, she's not a very large woman. She's tiny, like to go after someone like that as a foot, like it's just.
One of the guys was like, I can't wait to go and see you live. One of the guys in the DMs, like in an aggressive way, I can't fucking wait to go and see you live and fucking perform.
But like, what's going on in someone's head to fucking do that? Like, that's mental. Like. To target, I don't know. Like we both have a lot of female friends, and also we have female partners, and like the way men speak to women, some men, they'd never speak to you that way because they get a dig, Whereas they think I'm going to speak to this woman a certain way because I'll get away with it.
Oh yeah.
And if I can do it on my phone, and not even have to go across the road to do that, sure fucking makes it more even tempting. Small men. That's all it is. Small men.
It's disgraceful.
Yeah.
But also, I think, just kind of linked to what you said earlier about like anxiety, why are that many men anxious about that specific post that Aoife shared about men in Ireland attacking women, sexual violence, being convicted, being arrested, about sexual attacks on women? Why is the reason? Is there are you flying too close to the sun? in that world. Because what else could you possibly be defending? What are you defending? Like, are you defending the attack on an empire of which you're scared that's going to crumble in the hands of Aoife fucking Dunne? Like, what are you at? Or are you nervous? You're nervous that one day someone's going to call you out and go, hang on, by the way, now it's your turn. Now the lights are on you.
Well, it's like people saying, I'm not racist, but. What's the but? What do you mean you have to... I'm not racist, but I have an opinion. Like, hang on a second, you know, there's... Social media is such a fucking weird thing. Like, as I said, it's a beautiful place when you want to, you know, to connect with people, and you put now, you know, people are nice back to you, but also it just drags in a lot of shit.
It's rubbish in, rubbish out, isn't it?
A lot of those men would not be brave enough to go up to her and say that, do you know, and be like, say it to her face to face, but they'll gladly go into her DMs and make her feel uncomfortable because they can do it from the little keyboard warrior, you know, position at home.
Yeah. Disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. But like you said earlier on, like, just wake up every day trying to be sounder than you did when you went to sleep. Like,
don't be a shy bag.
What else could you possibly want from your life?
If you woke up one morning and goes, no, I'm gonna not be a shy bag today, you wouldn't be sending messages to women on the fucking internet.
Fucking wouldn't be.
Do you know what I mean?
Unbelievable. I was on Friday night. I cancelled some plans. Friday night I was meant to go for dinner into town, and it got to 4 o'clock. It was fucking freezing out. I had to go bust into town. I was like, you know, when you just like, I just love to just stay and do nothing.
There was a storm as well.
It was a storm as well. Yeah, the rain was pouring, and the missus was, she was already out with her mates that night anyway. So like, I'd love a night on my own. Just a night on my own would be great. So I cancelled my plans, and I sat and I had this book that Yasmin is her name, my missus' cousin, gave me this beautiful book, and it's called A Poet for Every Day of the Year by Allie Asiri. And she's got a few of these collections. It's basically just like compilations of all of her favourite poems and poetry. The fucking whopper books as well, big bloody doorstopper things, class. And I was like, right, so I put on the telly like an autumnal kind of YouTube video with some soft music that ran for like 4 hours, and I had a cup of coffee. I was like, oh, grand, I'm going to go through this poetry book. And I picked out this one poem, and it was from the poet Linton Kwesi Johnson, who is a British Jamaican dub poet, not our dub poet, but a dub poet, like dub music. And he wrote a poem called "If I Was a Top-Notch Poet," but it's a little bit like the language is written in the style of his like Jamaican patois, like his kind of his accent. Yeah, and like, I'll tell you this, I'm telling everyone here now, like, I read that out loud on my own in the house with the accent, and I was fucking having a great time. I was like, if I was a top-notch poet, and I kept going back. I was like, oh, I've got that wrong. I've got that bloody word wrong. And I was like, and after the fourth time, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Jamaican on my own with this bloody autumnal TV background, and I was like, "What's my life?" But
I was like, "Oh, he's lost his fucking mind."
He's lost his mind. But I was having a great fucking time doing it. I thought it was great, and I thought I'd share this poem. I'm not gonna do it myself. You're joking? That would be mental. Imagine that. No, but we're gonna listen to Linton do that poem now. This is "If I Was a Top-Notch Poet" by Linton Kwesi Johnson, actually from Def Jam Poetry.
Oh, wow.
This is years ago, but a great clip. Listen to this.
I would love to bring to the stage the original Don Gargan of dub poetry. Please give it up. From London, England, by way of Clarendon, Jamaica, Linton Kwesi Johnson.
A poem in defense of dub poetry called If I Was a Top-Notch Poet. If I was a top-notch poet, like Christopher Kigbo, Derek Walcott, or T.S. Eliot, I would write a poem so damn deep that it bittersweet. Like a precious memory will make you weep, will make you feel incomplete. Like when your lover leave, and though defeat you concede, still you beg and you plead, till you win a reprieve and you're ready for rock steady, but the music done already. Still, in the meantime, with me rhythm, with me rhyme, with me rough bass line, with me one sense of time. Boon poet have to step in line. Kabuta lazy might have got couple thousand, but Mandela for him thousands of thousands of thousands of thousands. If I was a top-notch poet, like Kamau Brathwaite, Martin Carter, Jane Cortez or Miri Baraka, I would write a poem so rude and rootsy and subversive that it make the goon poet turn white with envy. Like a candomblé voodoo come in a chant, a whole time calypso or a slave song that get banned. But from granny right down to grand picnic, each and every one can recite that they one. Still, in the meantime, with me rhythm, with me rhyme, with me rough bass line, with me one sense of time, goon poet have to step in line. Kabuta lazy might have got couple thousand, but Mandela for him thousands of thousands of thousands of thousands. If I was a top-notch poet, like Chikaya Utamsi, Nicholas Goen, or Lana Goodison, I would write a poem so beautiful that it's simple. Like a plain girl with good brains and nice ways, with a sexy disposition and plenty compassion, with a sweet smile and a subtle style. Still, me nah go bow and scrape and go on like a ape, peddling no puerile parchment of ethnicity, with only a vague, fleeting hint of authenticity, like a Black Lance Percival in reverse, or even worse, a babbling buffoon who lose him tongue. No, sir. Not at all. Me got me rhythm, me got me rhyme, me got me rough bass line, me got me one sense of time. Scooby-Doo. Goon poet have to step in line. Kabuta lazy might have got couple thousand, but Mandela for him thousands of thousands of thousands of thousands.
That was If I Was a Top-Notch Poet by Linton Kwesi Johnson.
Good fun, isn't it, that?
There's a style to that fucking... Oh, man.
Some fella, him.
The musicality of that accent is just amazing. They just have a way with words, haven't they?
Yeah.
And I think that's what we were talking about earlier. There's plenty of babbling buffoons out there.
Isn't there?
I mean, there's too many babbling buffoons and not enough people trying to be not being a shy bag.
Yeah, well, also to be authentic and like,
yeah.
you know, it's about, you know, that's his voice, this is the way he speaks, this is his words, he's not trying to be anybody else.
Yeah.
And like, it's kind of like that flip of like, if only I was as good as them, but listen, this is me, and this, I've got things to say.
But there's a fucking swagger about him as well. He was dressed to the nines.
So, yeah.
You know, I love listening to stuff from all over the place and how different it is, you know. And like my Spotify doesn't know what the fuck it is. The algorithm's all over the place because I listen to Miles Davis, a bit of jazz, going to the gym, whatever, and then you'd switch and you'd be on, you know, fucking Dusty Springfield then, and then you might switch to a bit of drum and bass for after lunch, and then you might go back to fucking the Mamas and Papas. You never know what. You never know. Just California dreaming all over the place. You know what I mean?
Got to keep it eclectic.
That's it. Like, and then I think with poetry as well, you need to just broaden your mind and listen to things that you probably wouldn't normally listen to, you know, to just become.
That's why I think those books are quite good. Like they're not a slog, but like, you know, that's 400 pages and there's a poet every day and it's meant to last for the year.
Yeah.
What the fuck was that? That's for the year.
That's your phone listening to you.
Yeah, no, yeah. But yeah, without it, I wouldn't have never known who he was.
Wow.
And there's a poem that he does called Sonny's Letter. Or Stop. So it's a story of a boy who writes a letter to his mom after he's imprisoned after murdering a police officer, but by accident after retaliating to police officers who were beating him and his brother up. Jesus. And he had tried to attack back. The police were able to stop and search this fictional child and his brother, because back in the 1960s, 1970s, there were acts in place that would protect, acts that were in legislation since the late 1800s, like that would allow police officers to just go ahead and stop and search anybody. Yeah. And that he talks about this is like that act was only removed in the 70s, but was replaced with like a slightly less bad version of the stop and search. They're called SUS. It was called SUS. the kind of protection that police used to have, which is interesting because you look at people like, he's quite sus. So I wonder if that's kind of connected. But yeah, a very powerful poet, but also like a bit of crack. That was great.
That was very entertaining. Very good. I think it's interesting you say that about the stop and search thing, because I remember as a teenager being stopped and searched by the guards all the time. Just walking to the shop and they'd be like, we're stopping you under such and such drug acts, blah blah blah, we're looking for whatever.
Oh.
And they'd search you like multiple times and you'd be like, what? And they just pull you aside. But then a part of me thinks, like, if they went to Black Rock, would they be would they be searching young kids there? I don't think they would, because their dads are all barristers, so
Yeah,
they wouldn't be bothering. No. But yeah, they walk through working class areas and be like, we're searching you under such and such act. And obviously you're like 15, you're like, what? Okay.
It's mad that I don't really remember, like, because I would have been in the parks when I was like young, drinking in the parks with like groups of people. Don't remember ever seeing a patrolling police officer back then.
Really?
In like the suburbs. No, I wouldn't.
In Ireland they do that, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Dublin anyway, where we were from, you'd be walking through and they'd just be stopping you and they'd search you for whatever reason. Even as a young man in my early 20s getting stopped. I got stopped down in Kerry. I was wearing this fucking hat, right? This is a mad story. I was wearing this hat that it was like a furry kind of rush, you know, the ones that come down past your ears, but there was fucking dog ears. It was like it was this mad looking hat, and I just thought that looked real warm in the winter, and I was wearing it going to my mate's gaff because it was freezing. It was like January, and two guards stopped me and they did they make me take my shoes and all off, and for no reason. They were like, you're from Dublin, and they're like, all right, and they just like started searching me, and they're like, under whatever act, and then they're like, right, off you go. And I was just asking them, I was like, can I ask you a question? They're like, what? Did you stop me because of the hat? And they're like, you have a good night now, and just walk off.
So strange.
I was like, what? Like, I'm wearing a fucking hat with bleeding ears on it. Like, they're probably like, who the fuck is this? They probably thought I was mentally disturbed rather than bleeding, you know, up to no good. You wouldn't wear a hat like that if you were up to no good.
You wouldn't. No, you wouldn't want the attention.
Could be the perfect disguise though. Maybe they were thinking he's peacocking. You know. Yeah, in Ireland they do. Yeah, I've been searched a few times as a youth.
You've got some very exciting news that you shared with me earlier on. You've been talking about this maybe being a thing for a couple of weeks, and it hadn't really. Yeah. I wasn't sure, and I was like, if that happens, that's fucking amazing. And
we weren't sure. That's why.
And then Jesus Christ, it looks like you've got it over the line.
Yeah, we managed to get it over the bar. So we have interesting news. Hopefully there's still tickets left and people hear this on Monday. But there's a show. We're actually going to put the tickets up now today on Wednesday, so it's going to be up a few days. But we have a Rise and Tide show that'll be on Pierce Street on the December 3rd, and on our lineup we have a very interesting lineup. We have Jess Flood. We've flown her all the way back from Australia. We've imported her back, and Jess Flood's going to open the show. We've got Dave Hines. He's going to do a set as well. Phil Lynch is going to be with Board Alone, so Phil Lynch is actually going to do
band,
music. Yeah. They've got Sasha Terfu, which is they're the Wexford poet in residence. We have Kieran Ye as well, who's a bilingual poet, speaks in Irish and English, and it's going to be really interesting. And then we have our final act, who we've been waiting for a while, and we're very excited to introduce. I only got the call about this last week. We have Robert Sheehan.
That's great.
Yeah, Robert Sheehan's going to do a few poems for us.
I think that's just amazing.
Yeah, it's played mental.
A very talented, special, artistic Irish icon.
Yeah, well, like he's
essentially
been on television and movies for years.
He was a kid, yeah, I guess.
Like Misfits was, I think, one of the first ones. Misfits was fucking years ago. Was that like 2010 or something like that?
And the Erskine Fogarty piece that he did with Blind Boy for RTE last year, like, and so creative as well. You never see RTE putting on like shorts like that.
Yeah,
I just felt,
and it's a bit out there as well.
Out. Yeah, mad story.
But like he's written books before, like, you know, and he's written books like short story collections that are kind of simple. So like I always think there's a thread. This is my imaginary thread now, but you can link artists from one artist to another. So you have like Robert Sheehan would be very interested in Blind Boy's work. Blind Boy would be very interested in Kevin Barry's work. Kevin Barry would be very interested in Beckett's work. So there's like a thread almost of this absurdism kind of. But I have a copy of Robert's short story collection, Disappearing Act, which I got a couple of years ago. It's really good. But apparently he's been writing poetry for the last 2 years.
Amazing.
And he's going to share some with us.
So what day is it? It's the 3rd of December.
Yeah. So
tickets are free.
6 day free. So UNESCO's funding the whole thing, and people can just come and sit and enjoy. Obviously we've got some really good acts. The whole show is fully stacked. It's the last show we have for the year, so we've just been pulling all the bells and whistles basically. But I have a little short story. I couldn't find any poetry from, but I have a short story if you want to hear it.
I would love to.
So this is a short story that was the Irish Times put this out a couple of years ago, and it's called Funeral, from Disappearing Act, which is his short story collection that I told you about. My hair is done to perfection. It took an age to get right down in K Flood's salon, but it was worth it. Because at a funeral you want to look your best when you're paying your respects. Keep it together at least until the graveyard. And there the wind and the rain can batter you and ruin your hair, and then you can let out the emotions and start crying and all that stuff there too. I remember Grandad Pat's funeral, and Uncle Patter, who could find no place to belong to other than the farm. Turned and goes stalking away across graves, no respect for the plots or the deadline in him. Just made a beeline, kicking gravel across the graveyard and the wind gusting. And we all looked at each other. A few rolls of the eyes, few nods, and eyes down, one or two smirks. He stalks away, and gets as far as the edge of the graveyard that's lined with them big, tall, bright green hedges that was made in a lab, and he unzips himself and starts taking a piss. Then there was a few sniggers, a few tuts. The priest's voice was wobbling, but it had been before. To be honest, my jaw was on the coffin, let alone the ground, and my hair was all over the place. It's disrespectful to wear hats at funerals unless you're a lady or have cancer. And as well, as soon as you hear about a friend, a dear friend's passing, it's disrespectful to not make that promise to yourself. But here I am in the church at the man's funeral wondering, have I really made the promises to myself at all? Even though I've a clear memory of making it when I'd heard he died. And now I'm second guessing, making the promise because I can see the back of her neck. It's behind the two locks of hair with a ferocious shine off it on the back of her head falling down, framing the back of her pale neck, long like a swan's, and me thinking I'm not sure that promise is worth anything now that I'm face to face with the back of her neck. And her short-haired sister holding her round the shoulder in her dark blue. The promise made inside my head 3 times in a row was that now that Patrick was dead, I'd never in a million years even think about doing anything with his wife, or widow now, let alone pursuing her. And I suppose, thinking the thoughts of the low fella that are swimming through my head at the moment is breaking that sacred promise. Damn. Sorry God. And sorry God for swearing. I'm trying my best. A promise that had to be made because in our heart of hearts everyone here knows that there was always a little glimmer of something between myself and Sinead. Such a vibrant woman, and I know Patrick was a droll chap, always taking the piss. But you might even go as far as to say sullen on a bad day with a puss on him, like something's just after happening. And they say opposites attract and all that. But sometimes I know she yearned for a bit more energy. Something more than someone hating everything all the time. Taking and never giving anything back, being sarcastic about things and getting his kick that way. I mean, she's the liver. Oh, Christ. What am I thinking at the man's funeral, for Christ's sake, Liam? Well, I suppose it's not a terrible sin to say a man is a dyer shortly after he's passed. But it is a sin, Liam, because you were thinking it, about him when he was very much alive. Nah, she was great for him. And I always thought that. Without her drumming a bit of life into him, he might have gone more withdrawn. And fellas with that seed who stay alone go that way, especially in a small town. When she's not cutting hair, she's always raising money for charity and organising things to happen on a weekend on the green. She'd go around with far less airs and graces than she's due. And that promise that can't be unmade, so I'm going to help her out what way I can and continue to admire her from afar and thank God that I'm lucky enough to get that gift. We do have great goss down in Cays. Some days I put my hands up on the counter and she plays the back of my fingers like a piano before they're doing our traditional cheersing with our mugs of tea. We crossed paths a couple of days ago coming down the main street, and in my best serious voice I asked Sinead who was to do the honours of St. Patrick's Mass. And she said she'd sooner put him in the Protestant church across the road if it wasn't Looney, because the other newer parish fella has a bit of a reputation. Word followed him from his last place, but there was none of that carry on in mine and Patrick's time, mind. When we were altar boys, and if there was, I was never told. Well, if I'm being totally honest, not all of me made the promise. I made it, but not all of me made it. The bit of me that makes all the right decisions, that fella made it. You know this, God. You know the fella who at the end of the night when someone says, we'll walk up the road to Doheney's, shall are open till 2:30, and the other fella is telling you, go on, there'll be crack. That fella who's in the front seat is shouting, being barely heard, you've been up to Doheney's 1,000 times, and it's always the exact same crack, don't bother, but the booze tends to quieten him down no matter how high-pitched he screams. Booze puts him on mute. But he's the fella I should be listening to, because he's looking out for not only you and me, but everyone else around as well. He's got everyone covered. Because no woman wants you smelly and hungover on a Sunday morning. They want the whole family to go out on a horse ride or a drive to the beach and be able to dive into the sea and be all full of energy and not sipping Lucozade and panting, even though you're not moving anywhere, and stinking. No one wants that on a Sunday. So he's the fella to listen to, the big fella. The fella who has your voice, God. He's the one who made the promise. He made it as defence against the other fella. He's the one who wants everything now. Next week won't do. He wants to taste the forbidden fruit. He's the low fella. He's the snake. He's the devil. And he tempts, and he tempts, and he tempts. And God knows he likes to drink as well, because the drink turns up his volume and down the other fellas. Anyway, I'm of an age now where I don't listen to that low fella as much anymore. He's getting to be less tempting these days. So it's going to be easier to believe in the big fella up in the front seat as long as I keep fairly clear of Sinead, apart from the big monthly cut and blow dry, and not be thinking about inviting her around all the time. But apart from the odd few times after the funeral and she alone in the house, I can invite her all I want around that time. Because what kind of devil would I be if I made a promise for her having some company? Poor thing. Must be shocking to lose a partner like that. Although the amount of energy your man expended, I doubt she's even noticed. For God's sake, stop it, Liam. Bless us and save us. You're at the man's funeral. We were all the boys up there when we were lads. We'd be sniggering away behind Father Looney tunes. Little boy racers running around, tripping each other up the aisles. Soon as Mam had the car pulled in next to Looney's orange-brown Capri, the doors would fly open and it was forced to the altar, forced to the vestry, forced to get the abs tied on. First position for Mass. Forced. Everything was competition for Patrick. He'd endless energy back in those days, but I was never that far behind, always a close second. And he wasn't unkind. But he ever said a kind thing, he'd a knack for making it sound like a judgment on someone else. Still though, to this day, when I walk into church every Sunday, I get a mad time warp back to when I was a little fellow with Patrick and me and a few of the other lads and one or two from the choir. The old frankincense drenched into the walls for the years, centuries. The smell of old belief. It was like it was yesterday. And I'm up there lighting candles and ringing bells and trying not to laugh. And so is he. But he's gone now. He's gone. And he'd like her to be happy, wouldn't he? Now, that's arrogance, Liam. God, who am I to say that I could be the one to make her happy? Christ, oh sorry crikey, imagine the town goss. Jesus forgive me, and he barely cold. Leaving his children half orphans, they'd say. Walking across town and into the bed of another man. You can nearly see her house from his. The cheek of it. Would he be as quick to rob his grave? Uproar. It's almost funny to think about. The shock on these poor old bored God-botherers' faces. Yeah, but, Liam, says the front seat fella, it'd stop being funny after about 3 days. And then God only knows how long they'd punish us for, or if they'd ever forgive us. And I know she would come too. The two of us down the Egypt up in Dohenny's at all hours. I said, Sinead, you'll have another one, sure. You're a liver. She says, I won't have a liver in the morning if I don't go now. And the two of us would laugh. I remember one night I got a fair laugh out of her. We were talking about Patrick and now. Patrick would be stocky, solid. There was talk of the county level team there for a while. And she was rolling her eyes about him being cranky and this and that and whatever. And what was the line I said? Well, Sinead, doesn't help to be short with people. But then again, some of us can't help it. Well, it was the proudest I'd say I'd ever felt. Didn't matter that she spat half her pint over me. I got a laugh out of her. I'd say I hadn't heard before or since. I wonder did Patrick ever get that class a laugh out of her? Now stop that, Liam. God, you're at the man's funeral. But the way me and her's eyes have lingered at all hours of the night out in the smoking area after Donny closed his doors. A man knows. I saw the willingness in her eyes with them gorgeous dark lashes lingering 2, 3, 4 seconds. Sometimes without breaking contact. That's a clear and steady signal. Beautiful eyes she has too. Saw a piercing grey blue like an Arctic wolf. The bells ring anyway, and Patrick gets lugged up on 6 lads' shoulders. Some family. Some Patrick used to play football with. And he begins making his way out of the church. The shine off his coffin would make you think it's unnatural, unfit for going into the ground. The gleam of gold on the handles. I wonder how long it will take the worms to eat through the varnish. When I go, I'll be buried in something way less boasty. I've little attachment to the body, the old cement mixer having to be lugged around. Once I go, the sooner the worms get into me the better. As Patrick snakes down the aisle step by step, Sinead's head turns with him, and the skin on her neck twists, then hides behind her deep brown coloured hair. And I see those eyes, and they're all glassy with tears, and her nose is red, and her lips are pursed and sealed, and she looks tired. God bless her. I want to get up and go over and put my arms around her. I want to catch her, and she'd fall into my warmth. I wanted to soak my collar in tears. I just want to walk her home after this and gently undress her while she cries and let her curl up in a ball against me just wearing a slip and cry Patrick out and go to sleep. And if she dozes off, I'd hug her close and make me breath close sounding by her ear and make it sound to her like the coming and going of the sea. Patrick draws closer, slowly, making his way down the aisle for the last time, like a 12-legged caterpillar in his Sunday shoes. Trip the caterpillar for the crack. I am in as much disbelief as everyone else in the church when the low fella sticks the left foot out and trips the first GAA fella on the left carrying the coffin. The whole lot of them go down like dominoes, hard. The coffin bounces off the back of the pew and in front of me and falls back into the aisle. Patrick's corpse comes flying out and rolls like a crash dummy, landing face up, eyes wide open, staring up at the heaven he was scheduled to be arriving in at about half an hour. Shrieks and cries and screams ring out and echo through the church now like hysterical prayer. I can't move in the pew. I'm frozen to the spot. I look up and Sinead's crystal eyes are ablaze and burning a hole in mine. She points and screeches, "He tripped him. I saw him. Liam." Everyone looks at me in complete amazement. And suddenly I realise I'm smiling. I'm wrinkling my mouth. I'm trying not to laugh. I get up and try to encourage the lads to help me put Patrick back in his coffin, but the football lads all wore me away with thick welty hands on long arms connected to fair shoulders. This one, a blonde curly lad who's rumoured to be a bit of AC/DC, probably only trying to cop a cheeky feel here in God's house where no one would suspect, force whispers at me, "Go, now," and gives me a look like he's going to knock me teeth out. I've seen that look in his eye before, but only from the sidelines of a match. I turn around, having finally stopped the smirking. I can't look at anyone in the face, and most of them can't look at me. But a few of them can as I'm walking down the aisle, and that fella in the front seat is roaring in my head, saying that Patrick was a well-liked man, and there are a few lads in this church whose lips are curling, size me up, and are going to bide their time until they can get a chance at taking a crack at me. A few there slobbering at the thought of giving me justified hammering. Oh Jesus, what have we done? I'll never live this down. Maybe some people will think it's funny, and they become my new friends, and let's split the town in two. People who found it a bit comical in hindsight, and there was no harm done really, and we can all move on and laugh about it. Then there'll be grudges who think it's an offence against God, spoiling another man's burial because you were jealous of him, and the fact that he got to be with her and everyone knows it, and they all know that's why you did it. For God's sake, will you be quiet? Would you never forgive me? Who knows what's going to happen? Young Willie Bowling near the back has a big grin on him. He's had that big pink scar running down from his left eye since before he was 18. He's been in the wars well enough. He knows what I'm in for. Then I'm in tears, and I can taste the salt. And I'm heading out the front doors of the church into the light blinking. I hope to God no one saw me crying on top of everything else. I'm stood in the car park unsure whether I should get in my car and drive up to the graveyard, or get in my car and drive home, or wait until she comes out and falls at her feet, like Mary Magdalene at Jesus' feet but in reverse, and beg for forgiveness. I choose the third option. I stand in the car park making funny noises at the back of my throat and wipe my eyes until the procession have gotten themselves back together, and are coming out of the church. The sun is glaring and the wind is up, just my luck. As the wind gusts them going down the steps, I kneel at the bottom and pray in a hoarse whisper, "May Patrick go to heaven, may Patrick clear go to heaven, please God, may Patrick clear go to heaven, may Patrick..." My hair has been turned upside down and I look like a complete fucking idiot, and people are hollering and roaring, "Fuck off, Liam, go home, Liam, no respect." All I want to do is tell her, but I can't be heard over the congregation of screaming mourners, so I jump up and down and wave, "Sinead, Sinead," but she's turned away. Her head's buried in her lesbian sister's navy blue blazer, and she's quickly being helped into the passenger door of her car, Volkswagen Golf GTI, sporty little mower. I love seeing her drive through the town and that. Or see her pull up outside K Floods for her appointment for a blow dry and fizz, and I'd say, "Well, Sinead, sink still broke," and she'd give me the eyes and say, "Now, Liam, the thing about being married to a builder is he knows he can fix it. That's why nothing ever gets fixed." And I'd roll my eyes and try to keep from letting out. The knowing that she's going to be giving me the shivers through my whole body from the top down when she's giving me the shampoo conditioner under the hot jets and beaming, smiling at me and asking is there anything in the magazine. No sooner does a sister get her sat into the car and she pops back out and comes marching over, I crawl to her high-heeled feet like Mary Magdalene, and she grabs a firm hold of me under my sodden pathetic chin. "You were in my prayers, Liam, but you do not have me. You never, ever will. Please do not come to the salon again." And she's gone. I try pushing my way through the legs of all the blocking throng to follow her black suede stilettos, but a teenage Patrick looking like pallbearer jumps at his chance. He grabs hold of me by the scruff of the collar. He gets me by my tie, and is doing that thing where a lad tries to choke you to death with your own tie. And I can't get the words out. And all I want to tell her is that I love her and that she has a place to stay and someone to talk to if she's feeling lonely, but this little bastard is choking my ear passages, so I knock him off and connect farewell with his ear, but he's only 16 or 17 and that doesn't go down well at all. And now the GAA lads have Patrick put into the hearse and three of them are coming for me. I turn to run, but I slip on my shoelaces that teenage Patrick must have stood on, and I half trip over but just about manage to regain me footing before the blondie, curly footballer fella, I think his name is Cronin, his father was a footballer as well, turns me around and smacks me so hard in the mouth my vision goes completely black, and I feel the contact but not the pain of the massive thud on the back right of my head as I hit the cold gravelly ground hard. Grinning Willie Bowland, who's wearing them new rock boots that go all the way up to the knee, wades in with a fair kick to me ribs before getting pulled away, and they hoist me up by the scruff and they look alarmed. There must be a lot of blood. Their eyes are bulging and their talk is drifting in and out of my ears. I can't hear properly. God forgive me. I don't want to die. But on the upside, If you die in a churchyard, you're guaranteed entry into heaven, I'd say. Is that right, God? It's not written down anywhere, but why else would all the priests and Protestant vicars bury themselves in the church grounds? It's hallowed, sacred ground, and I think that means I get a pass. The lads have me up right now and are dragging me towards one of their cars, an Audi A3 hatchback nice motor. One of them hybrids that uses hardly any petrol. So I flop out of their rough grip into the ground and fake a seizure. I mean, forecast is pretty grim. Outlook not very bright, really. Becoming the town pariah, or worse, the town joke. Even worse than life now. And that's a rung below I didn't think there was down there. And even worse than that, seeing her driving through town or walking little doggy Daisy in those tight jogging pants that highlight how impressively back in shape she got after having 3 children, and her walking with the head down and having no wave or smile for me. Her reverting her eyes from the low freak, pretending I don't exist. That's an agony worse than eternity in hell. God. Or loony bin. No, thank you. Churchyard fix, please. The second time I go down for the seizure. And this time I feel the full contact and the full pain. I can feel hot blood drenching the back of my head. My hair is in such an absolute mess I don't even want to think about it. They're all getting the phones out. You know, I was only thinking earlier on that as you get older, the outside world shrinks and things right in front of you get kind of big. As they hoist me up on the gurney, I can't move a muscle to turn my head away from the spot where Mammy used to drop the 2 of us off for rehearsals. Next to Looney's Capri, an old motor with the oar and the eye prized off the back of it just so I could say cap. Patrick eyed me with the devilment. The seatbelt strap going tight over my chest, making me breathe and shallow like I went having to race him all the time. I hated the feeling of it. It was always first this, first that. And this is before Sinead knew either of us. Forcing to reach the altar. Soon as the handbrake was on, we were out with the car, elbowing and pulling. Into the church and up on the aisle, slapping all the pews and making them echo. I suppose you won this round too, Patrick. Well done. Again. But I was never very far behind.
That was a short story by Robert Sheehan called Funeral. And hopefully that gives you a taste of what to expect at the Rising Tide event that Leon's hosting, with Rob Sheehan, Jess Flood, Dave Hines, and loads of others.
Phil Lynch is going to be doing music.
So get yourself along. Tickets are available on Eventbrite. Leon's going to share the link on. I'll share the link on the Poster Podcast Instagram. It's free, and get yourself down there. We're going to wrap up the show with a track from DC Dolls, an Irish female-only rock band.
Oh, wow.
With a song called Countess. This is going to fucking blow your socks off. It's a great track. This was our penultimate episode of the year.
Penultimate?
Yeah, there's only got one more left.
You've only one more left?
Yeah, I should have said.
You never thought.
Well, we end it because we're gonna do
December,
an episode on the 1st of December with our winning poets who won the competition to get published in our anthology, and that will be the same day that we'll release the Poetry's Dead Anthology Volume 2, which we're so excited about to get out there. So look out for that. Leon, thanks for your time.
Always a pleasure. Never the show, Ryan. Bye bye.
See you next week.
Ciao, ciao.